What's going on, baseball fans? We have breaking news. George Springer is signing with the Toronto Blue Jays. It is official, pending a physical, of course. Let's get to it. And what is going on, baseball fans? How you doing? We were just here a little bit ago, and I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. I was going to go to bed thinking, all right, maybe it'll break in the morning. Nope. As soon as I ended the last stream, it became official. George Springer is going to the Toronto Blue Jays. It was looking like it was going to be official. All of the tweets coming out tonight were suggesting it. It was kind of leaning that way. Figured it was going to happen eventually. We were starting to see all the rumblings, but now it is official. George Springer will be a Blue Jay as long as that physical goes okay. So let's get right to it here. Let's pull up the tweets. Let's not waste any time here. If you are new, just coming in, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 5K by opening day. Hit that like button for me. Let's get this out to more baseball fans. I am telling you, hit that like button. The like button helps streams get out there. Let's get people in here. We're at 70 people right now, and we just started. Hit that like button. That's going to get this out there to more people. Go follow me on Twitter. I just tweeted a little bit ago. I'm talking baseball there throughout the day. So let's get to it here. So let's pull up everything that we need to know. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the very beginning tonight. We started off tonight where it looked like earlier in the day. I'm going to pull up a couple of tweets. We're going to kind of backtrack to all the way to this morning where, hold on, let's see here. I got to get kind of caught up with everything here. Let's share the screen. All right, so this morning, John Heyman tweeted out. He tweeted all the way I believe it was this morning. So we did see Kirby Yates looking like he is going to be in agreement with the Blue Jays. That's also pending a physical. So where did he tweet this? So let me actually go back to MLB trade rumors. Let's go here. I was just looking at this article. Oh, wow. More breaking news. More breaking news. The Angels will be signing Jose Quintana. More breaking news. Wow, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Alrighty, so here we go. Let me get to this tweet from earlier today. Here we go. Okay, I think this was it. Yeah, so here, this is going back to this morning. So about 10 o'clock this morning, the Blue Jays are believed to be making a push to bring free agent outfielder George Springer. That was according to Ben Nicholson. So this was starting this morning. These were when the rumblings started. John Morosi tweeted yesterday that Springer could make a decision by the end of the week. Well, he's definitely ahead of schedule now because it looks like it's a done deal. And then tonight, we were just live a little bit earlier. The sense was that Toronto is gaining some momentum in its attempt to sign Springer. So then if we go to Twitter here, there was this one man from Toronto. He's the man of the hour tonight. He was the one that reported this. He sent out the first tweet. Where is that tweet? Here it is. This was what we were looking at earlier. When we first saw this, I had some people in the chat saying, no, that's fake. I follow these guys. No, they're fake. Don't trust these guys. But no, I actually, when I saw this, I was like, I don't know. This isn't just some random guy. He has a few thousand followers. He's already gained a ton of followers. This guy had the tweet of the night in the baseball world. This guy got a ton of followers from this. He's a writer for the Jays Nation. So it's not like just some random website. Like, this guy is an actual writer. You don't just tweet this stuff out. You do not just tweet this stuff out. I mean, if you're like a big, no, he's not big by any means. He's not like a Jeff Passan or a Morosi or a Heyman. But, he does stuff for the Blue Jays here. He's a writer for the Blue Jays. I'm not sure if this is just like a blog or whatever, but BlueJaysNation.com, I'm not sure what kind of traction this website gets, but it looks like they do a lot of work here. You got to think, why would they tweet something out like this? I mean, that's kind of a little, I don't know. That's a little risky if you ask me. If you weren't for sure knowing that this was going to happen, then you wouldn't tweet this out. This guy tweeted this out with full-on confidence. This dude was getting a haircut. He was getting a freaking haircut while he tweeted this out. That's a guy right there. That's a man. This is the guy. This is the man of the night tonight. So he tweeted this out at 8:30. This is when it really kind of started picking up steam. Then we had a few other guys. Then Heyman was kind of coming out tonight. Jays continue to be aggressive. They're still hoping to land him. Morosi was tweeting out. Here we go. So let me go back here. So he tweeted out at about an hour ago, the Blue Jays are the front runners. And he did give credit to these guys. These were the two that tweeted it. And this guy, too, also heard. He tweeted out, hearing the same thing. It's done, pending a physical. So you got to give these two guys credit. And then everyone else started to come around. And then the report started to fly out. I think Passan was the one that said it was official. I think he was the one that said it was official. So he tweeted this 19. Oh, wow. Look at Passan. He gave him credit. That's awesome for him. Good for him. He did tweet this out. Outfielder George Springer and the Toronto Blue Jays are in agreement on a deal. Sources familiar with the situation tell ESPN. Springer is headed to, I always don't know how to pronounce that, Dunedin for a physical, and if all goes well, according to plan, Toronto will get the star it's been looking for all winter. You just had to think Toronto was going to be getting someone. And because they have been window shopping this entire offseason, they've been interested in this guy. And they got a guy. And they've been linked with him all offseason. It's been Mets, Blue Jays all offseason between those two for George Springer. And I thought the Mets were going to be the one that would prevail. But then again, I started to kind of reconsider where I thought, I don't know, because the Mets with their payroll, if you go look at the Mets payroll, taking a look. If you go to roster resource on Fangraphs, looking at the Mets payroll, they're at $186 million as of right now after bringing in Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco. So they're about $24 million away from hitting that luxury tax line. And Steve Cohen, I understand this guy is one of the richest men on the planet. He has not gotten rich by making, by spending so much money. This guy has made smart investments over time. He knows going over the luxury tax line, he knows what that's going to do for, your team. You're going to have to pay penalties. You're going to have to give up draft positioning, so on. You're going to have to give up a draft pick for a Springer. So, I don't think the Mets are really in a position to do that. The Blue Jays have a better farm system than the Mets, and I should have seen this, a little bit. I was kind of thinking, because I wasn't really sure what the Blue Jays were doing. They were kind of just all over the place. I don't know. It was kind of the running joke that they were interested in everyone, and it was only a matter of time, at least I thought, before they got someone, and they got someone. So the Toronto Blue Jays, they have so much room. Wow, look at Fangraphs. They have already added Springer. Look at this. So, and let's actually go here. This is the contract for George Springer. Jeff Passan, he says George Springer's deal with the Toronto Blue Jays is for 6 years and $150 million. That's $25 million per year. In my last stream, I just said it would be between 24 and 26. That was and bam, $25 million right in the middle. So that's what you're going to have to pay for a Springer. Another thing I thought with Springer where he could maybe go to the Mets is because his wife grew up in New York. He lives closer to New York. It really just shows that geographically, these teams don't really seem to matter. The geographical location doesn't really seem to matter all that much. It's been said all offseason he prefers to be somewhere closer to Connecticut. And I thought too, with his wife growing up in New York, I thought that would be kind of the thing that really got him there. And there you go. You're going to Toronto. Again, $25 million. But now if you look at the Blue Jays payroll, $116 million. They got around $94 million left to spend if they want to go that high. If they want to go that high, they have that money. They have that flexibility. This team is good. They got young players who are cheap. They got good contracts all over the place. I mean, they got Hyun-Jin Ryu and Roark this season, and Grichik are the only ones making more than $10 million besides Springer. I mean, these guys are on great contracts. They got so much flexibility. And another thing, too, a lot of people might be thinking, well, I don't know, the Blue Jays, they might not, because of the pandemic, they might not. Listen, they're owned by Rogers I think it's called Rogers Communications. Rogers Communications. Yeah. So they're owned by Rogers Communications. And if you take a look at how they are, this is a big-time company up in Toronto. I think I'm looking up the right one. Yeah, so if we take a look in the past year, so they have been doing pretty well ever since, going back here. If you go back to March, this is kind of when the pandemic, everything kind of first started happening. But ever since then, they've been able to do pretty well. And they climbed back up this past winter. So this is a big company up in Toronto, and the Blue Jays, I don't think they're not worried about payroll. They're not worried about payroll. They're able to go out and get a guy like this, where these other teams, like these small market teams, they're not really able to spend the money. But because Rogers Communications owns the Blue Jays, I'm just saying they have the payroll to get stuff like this done. And I'm not going to be surprised right now if you start to see Trevor Bauer start to get involved as well. Don't be surprised if they start making a push for Bauer, because while this move is fantastic, this move is absolutely fantastic. You got to love this for the Blue Jays. This is a team. I mean, as a Red Sox fan, I absolutely hate this move. This is awful. The Red Sox, I kind of wonder, it's going to be maybe a couple of years now before they really start to compete. I mean, I already knew that before Springer, but if you take a look at the Blue Jays right now, take a look at the Blue Jays. You can have all this offense you want. They ranked 11th in offense above average last year, according to Fangraphs. And now with Springer, that's only going to get better. They're going to be a top 10 offense in the major leagues next year if all goes according to plan. But this Blue Jays team is not there yet. They're not there yet. So, hold on one second. But this team is not there yet. Why? Because they need pitching. They need pitching. Yes, maybe they could go after Brantley, but I don't think they need to go after Brantley. I think they need to go after a starting pitcher. And if you go look at the pitchers on the market right now, here we go. MLB Free Agents by position. So let's go look at the free agents real quick. So look at the man of the hour. He is off the board, George Springer. Go to starting pitching. They got Kirby Yates today. I think that's a really good move. They're not going to be paying him a lot of money. It's I think $4.5 million as a base salary, and then there's incentives in there as well. So that's a very good, low risk, high reward kind of a move. So, but looking at starting pitchers, you got here Trevor Bauer just sitting there. You got Trevor Bauer just sitting there. They have the money for him. They have the money. They just showed now, and here's another thing just to show it's official to all of you. Springer has a 6-year deal with Toronto. Jeff Passan, he's the one that's confirming it. Also, I want to go back to Jeff Passan. I want to give him credit too, because he did give credit to these two, or he gave credit to him. So good for him. I like that Jeff Passan did that. That's a good move on him to give him the credit. So Andrew Acevedo, they're okay. They got Francisco Lindor. But going back here to the free agents, they have the money for a Trevor Bauer. They have the money. I'm not going to be surprised at all if you see Trevor Bauer go to Toronto. I think the Angels, well, I don't know. Now this is really interesting because the Angels just signed Jose Quintana. I know that doesn't put you over the top because the Angels, they need starting pitching depth as well. So if we go to the depth chart for the Angels, I've thought that the Bauer is going to be an Angel. That's been my, well, I first started off with the Mets in the beginning of the offseason. I figured maybe that would be like a big ticket guy they would go for. Ended up being the big ticket guy they went for was Francisco Lindor. But if you take a look here, now the Angels have Jose Quintana, but they could still add someone. They could, I mean, you got Patrick Sandoval there, but the Angels right now, they need someone like a Bauer, and that's why I'm still leaning towards the fact that Bauer is going to go to the Angels. I mean, again, Bauer has said that geographically, it's the fact that he's from California, that's not really a big deal to him because he's pitched all over. So that's not really a big deal to him. But I just think it comes down to Bauer wants to go somewhere where he feels like the team is going to listen to him and he's going to listen and embrace his ideas. Are the Angels going to do that? I think the Blue Jays right now, they are hungry. This rotation doesn't get it done. I like Hyun-Jin Ryu a lot. I like him a lot. If he stays healthy. I like the potential of a Nate Pearson. I like that. Tanner Roark. I think he could be solid, but he had a disaster of a year this past year. Trent Thornton got hurt. Robbie Ray was a mess. They need a guy like a Bauer. They need a guy like Bauer. They can't just sit here on their... they got Springer. They got that done. But they have the money for a Trevor Bauer. They need to get that done. I think it's going to come down to the Angels and the Blue Jays for him. And I wonder, man, and I tweeted this earlier. I'm just saying... Andrew Lee, are you back? Of course, I ended my stream, and I knew it was going to happen. I was so tired. But then as soon as the news hit, bam, I woke up. And luckily, I did not start going to sleep. But I tweeted this earlier. I'm just saying, hey, Trevor, hope all is well. Hey, quick thought. The Blue Jays are looking decent now with George Springer. American League is wide open. Trevor Bauer versus Garrett Cole sells. Just a thought. Welp, see you later. Trevor Bauer, get your butt to Toronto. I need to see Trevor Bauer versus Garrett Cole. Give it to me. Give me Trevor Bauer versus Garrett Cole. Those two teams going after the American League. Oh my God. You got three good teams. If they get Bauer, I'm not sold on the Blue Jays yet. I like Springer. I like Springer a lot, but I'm not sold on this team. I'm not sold on the starting pitching. I'm not sold on the bullpen. Kirby Yates was a nice pickup. I think there's some decent pieces in this bullpen. Jordan Romano had a pretty good year last year. I mean, Yamaguchi didn't do as good as people thought he could. He had a pretty bad year, honestly. You got Rafael Doles, who did pretty good. Ross Stripling they picked up. He could be a decent arm. He didn't have a great season last year, but I think he could be a decent guy in middle relief, give you some spot starts. He had a pretty bad year, but with the Dodgers, he did pretty good. But he did go to a new team. So, he was doing pretty bad with the Dodgers. He wasn't doing very good. So, I don't know. He went to Toronto, didn't do much better. So, if Ross Stripling can get back to 2016 to 2019 Ross Stripling, I think that could be pretty decent. 2019, he actually wasn't... I was looking at the wrong year. He was good in these years. So, if they can get Ross Stripling to bounce back, I think that bullpen could be pretty decent. But the starting pitching, they need to upgrade here. And again, if they don't go after a Bauer, you got some other options, but I don't think these options are going to put you over the top. You got Odorizzi. He's not going to put you over the top, though. All right, are we back? Are we back? Oh my goodness. Oh. That was probably one of the worst lags that we've had. Wow. We just lost like 200 people. Are you serious? We were up to 270 people in the chat. And now we're at 93. Wow. That is a heartbreaker. Are you kidding me? All right, we're starting to get some people back now. 106 people. I haven't lagged that. I don't think I've lagged that bad before. Are you kidding? Oh my goodness. All right, we're starting to get people back now. Okay, we're good, everyone. We are good. Sorry about that. My internet decided to do something right there. I'm going to kind of wait for everyone to start coming back in. All right, we're up to 130 now. What is happening right now? Dude. Are we good? I think we're okay. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm just going to get going here. All right. 142. 153. All right, cool. Sorry, everyone. I experienced some lag there for a second. That was awful. I didn't lag the whole last stream I did tonight. Not one bit of lag in that stream. And then we just got an awful lag session right there. But everyone, so getting back to where we were. So Springer, I don't think really sets you up for a playoff run. I don't think it sets you up at all. I don't think this team is ready yet. Yes, the offense is looking good, but they need starting pitching. I think you got to go for a Trevor Bauer. You got to go hard for him. If Springer's a done deal, you got to go get someone like a Bauer. If not Bauer, I think they have the assets to make a trade. So let's go to baseball trade values. Let's go take a look. Okay, here we go. So let's take a look. Blue Jays. So what are some options out there? Okay, the first team that comes to mind right away. So the Reds. The Reds got something. And honestly, the Reds could even have something else too. The Blue Jays, as of right now, if we go to their depth chart, the Blue Jays, as of right now, I mean, you don't necessarily need this, but you could, if you wanted to, you could add a third baseman. I mean, you could move some guys around and make it work, but I think right now you still need a third base. You could still get a third baseman. And I think right now the Reds have a package for the Blue Jays that works. They have a package. So let's look at the Reds. You got a starting pitcher that's right there. Now, I don't know if this is a guy that really puts you over the top in starting pitching, but they do have Sonny Gray, and they got Suarez. Could you imagine, after you just added George Springer, and then you go get a Eugenio Suarez? Oh, come on. That offense is insane. I think the Blue Jays, but mainly they need to get a starting pitcher. Sonny Gray, I think, could be a good addition to this Blue Jays team, and this would help clear a lot of payroll for the Reds if that's what they're trying to do. If that's what they are trying to do. So, if you're the Blue Jays, you got the pieces to make this happen. You have the pieces. So, taking a look, they got good prospects. I mean, you could go a lot of different ways here. Could you maybe send over someone like a Kirk? If you go look at the Blue Jays' top prospects, they got a lot of pieces they could give. So, taking a look, I mean, they're not going to give up they're not going to give up Pearson. They're not going to give up Martin. That's what I wonder. I wonder if they would go for a Suarez because they do have Martin. So I don't know. It's whatever. It's still fun to think about. So, you got Groshans too. Do you give up a Groshans? I mean, if you put Groshans in there, that would be like, that would make up the difference right there. Do they want to give up Groshans though? He is a bit far away. If you take a look, he's still not going to be, it looks like he's not going to be ready for a couple of years, about a couple of years probably. He's been an A-ball. Well, actually, no, he could move through this system pretty quick. He hit 337 over 23 games in A-ball in 2019. You could see him move pretty quick. But if the Blue Jays really wanted to, I think they could go get a Suarez. But if you did want to part with the Groshans, maybe you could do that. Maybe throw in a pitching prospect. I don't know. Do you give up a Woods Richardson maybe? And then I think something like that could get this deal done. I mean, I don't know. Maybe throw in a major league piece in there as well. And I think you could get something done for a Gray and a Suarez. I really think that. Or if you didn't do Suarez, take Suarez out. You could definitely get Gray. You could just give like a Woods Richardson and something else. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Let's actually keep him there. Groshans, take out. And then here, you're pretty close. Add in one prospect here. Maybe like a Geraldo or something. And you could definitely get this done. You could get a trade done for a Sonny Gray. I think this could definitely happen. But definitely look out for this. I think the Blue Jays, they're now going to set their sights on a starting pitcher. You cannot go into this offseason, or into this season, with an offseason of not getting a starting pitcher. You have to get a starting pitcher. Bringing Robbie Ray back was fine, but you need to get someone else. Professor Whoopsie, you could do a Castillo. I did this one earlier on my last stream. You could do a Luis Castillo. I mean, take back a Moustakas to play third. This would take a big package. So I would imagine you'd have to include a Groshans in there. It would take definitely a big package of prospects. I mean, I don't know. Who else? You could send back Manoah. Maybe send back Moreno. That's a big pack. Okay, that's too much, I think. Take out Moreno. Or take out Manoah. I think you're pretty close here. I think you could get a Castillo. I mean, dude, if you could get Castillo, oh man, if the Blue Jays could do this, if you had Castillo and Hyun-Jin Ryu, that'd be nasty. And then, hold on a second, hear me out. Even if you did make a trade like this, you could still go get a Trevor Bauer. Could you imagine a top three like that of Trevor Bauer, Hyun-Jin Ryu, and Luis Castillo? Oh, forget that. That would be nasty. I would pick the Blue Jays to win the AL East at that point. If they got Bauer and a Castillo, oh, that would be nasty. Absolutely nasty. I could even pick the Blue Jays to win the American League at that point. That would be insane. I'd pick them over the Yankees. I would pick them over the White Sox. Yeah. But I definitely think the Blue Jays, again, one more time, they got to go after someone. They got to go get a Trevor Bauer. They have to go get a Sonny Gray, maybe a Luis Castillo. I'm thinking of some other people. Trying to think, who are some other teams that maybe could part with a starting pitcher? I mean, Musgrove is off the market now. You could go get a Tyon, but I think he's going to be more of a trade deadline kind of a guy if they do trade him, or they could just hang on to him. I don't know if the Phillies maybe want to clear out Zach Wheeler's contract. Do you get rid of him? Nationals, no. Mets, no. Marlins, no. Mariners, no. Indians, no. I think they've traded away all their starting pitchers by now. I think what they have left is fine. Giants, no. Dodgers, no. Diamondbacks, no. You could go get Hendricks from the Cubs. That would be nasty. I would love that. If you go get Hendricks, you could definitely get a trade done. Easily get a trade done. So let's just say Woods Richardson. Take out Groshans. Who else? Geraldo. Take him out. Take out Moreno. And then I think you're pretty close. If you get a couple prospects out of Hendricks, I think you can get Hendricks. Why couldn't you? Add someone else in here. Maybe throw in a Manoah. I think something like this gets it done. Something like that could get it done. I mean, you saw the Cubs earlier with Yu Darvish. They got a package of just high upside guys. So like if you're the Blue Jays, you got some high upside guys in here. Some young guys. Maybe like an Aurelvis Martinez. You could get him. Where's Martinez? I mean, I think you could do that. Why not? Geraldo. Take out Geraldo from here. Take out Manoah. Take out Woods Richardson. I mean, Martinez, I think you could do him and someone else. Maybe like a Jimenez and a Machado. Let's see. Jimenez. I mean, these are, again, but this is what the Cubs kind of did with Yu Darvish. They got like these high upside kind of guys to where this would be a bit of an overpay. But I think you could maybe get something like this done. Maybe not Jimenez, maybe like a pitcher. Where are you at? Jimenez, let's do like a pitcher instead. Maybe like a Pardinho. Why is this not alphabetical? Here we go. Okay, and then add in Pardinho. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. Like, I mean, you're still pretty far away at that point, at least in my opinion. But I think you could go get a Hendricks. You could go get a Gray. You could get a Castillo if you really wanted to. I don't see why the Blue Jays could not get a Luis Castillo. Why couldn't they? They have the prospects to get it done. You have a Groshans you could send back to him. I think you could get that done. And if you take back Moustakas, there you go. You got a third baseman. So that could work. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Michael Brantley. Let's go take a look at this. What is this stuff about Michael Brantley that I'm seeing? So would Brantley be like their DH? Oh, whoops. Because, I mean, your outfield is already pretty set. Brantley is close friends with Springer and represented by the same agency, according to Ken Rosenthal 22 minutes ago. I mean, Buster Olney today tweeted out about it. So Brantley would be the DH. But what are you going to do with all these other guys? What are you going to do with... So if you really wanted to, so like Rowdy Tellez, he's not going to have a place to play. You're not going to have a place for Kirk. I mean, I think they're fine with Jansen. I think you could put Kirk and a Tellez in a deal. I mean, let's go have some fun. Here we go. Let's go back to the Reds. Let's go do a Luis Castillo, Mike Moustakas. That to me sounds awesome. If you could do Moustakas, if you take back his contract and then you get Castillo, oh, come on. And then, so Blue Jays, they got a ton of pieces here. Okay, take out Machado. Okay, so who's the other one? Martinez take out. I'll tell you what, baseball trade values, I love baseball trade values, but sometimes it can be a little annoying. And Pardinho, you got to take him out. You got to have to like reset it and whatever, and it's just like a pain. All right, so I think you could get this deal done. Why couldn't you? You have more than enough prospects and pieces to give. So if you go sign a Michael Brantley, I mean, you could definitely trade Tellez at that point. I mean, you could definitely trade Kirk at that point too. I think Jansen's the guy at catcher. That's just my opinion. I think he's really good defensively. So I think he's very good. Okay, going back here. So Tellez. Let's do Tellez. Wait, am I on the right team? No, whoops. Okay, Tellez, where are you at? Okay, Tellez you could throw in. Kirk you could throw in. Kirk's got decent value too. I mean, I mean, Kirk is an elite hitter. I see that. I mean, Kirk had some good numbers last year, I believe. Take a look at Kirk. Let me actually pull up Kirk. Taking a look at Kirk. Okay. Not too familiar with his numbers. I know Jansen's very good defensively. Okay, so they have... Okay, so if we take a look, the fielding is not very good with him. Not very good fielding-wise. But definitely good with hitting. Got a good power. Is Kirk on here? Oh, actually, here we can go to this one. So Kirk is a big boy. I'll tell you that right now. He's got a 60 hit. That's a plus hit tool. He has a good arm. His fielding is just not very good. He's not fast. Not much of a power guy. But I think you could maybe send him back. Why not? Let's put Kirk in there. And now you can just kind of start filling it in. You can just send back, like, let's put Groshans in there. And now you're pretty close. Now you're like one piece away from getting this done. Throw in a Woods Richardson. Done. Why couldn't you do that? Why couldn't you do something like that? For a Castillo and a Moustakas? Groshans, Kirk, Woods Richardson, Tellez. And if you don't want Woods Richardson, maybe do some more high upside guys. If you don't want to do Kirk. I'm just saying, they don't really, like, if you could bring in a Brantley to be your DH, which I think at this point with Brantley, he's been getting hurt. Dude, if you got Brantley, Springer, and then you brought in Moustakas, who I think is still pretty decent. I still think Moustakas is pretty decent. Dude, this team would be nasty. This team would be absolutely nasty. I mean, come on. If they brought in Brantley, this team would be good. Goodness gracious. That lineup would be miserable. Oh, that lineup would be brutal to have to pitch to. Brutal. So, there's a lot of things here the Blue Jays can do. They're not done. They are not done by any means at all. But they have to add a starting pitcher. They got to. They got to get someone, whether if it's a Castillo. I could honestly see Castillo going to the Blue Jays. I don't know what it is. Like, I just see it. Like, it just looks like a good fit. The Reds could get a good package back for him. They'd get rid of Moustakas' contract. The Blue Jays, they're ready to compete. I mean, you could go get Castillo. You could get a Gray. You could go for Hendricks. You could go sign Bauer. I think the guys that will really set them apart would be a Bauer and a Castillo. And maybe a Hendricks. I think a Hendricks would be okay. Gray, I don't think Gray is the guy he's gonna lead you to the promised lands. I don't think he's that kind of a guy. But if you added a Castillo or a Bauer, now Bauer, I think Bauer is a little overrated in my opinion. I think Bauer is good, but I don't know. I want to see more of what he did this past season. So that's what I really want to see more of. Jeff Gibson, how you doing, my friend? Welcome. But the Blue Jays, they're not done. They're not done. They shouldn't be done. If they are done, that's not good. They got a ways to go here. They're looking better. They're looking a lot better now. Let me go back to their depth chart. I mean, they got a great lineup. You know, you do have whatever you stick with at catcher, I think you're going to be good catching wise. You got Vlad, you got Kevin Biggio. They still could use a third baseman. Bo Bichette, if he's healthy, he's going to be good. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., one of the best contracts in the game. Randall Grichik, I wonder what they're going to do with him. I wonder, could you do something with a Randall Grichik in a trade, maybe for a bullpen arm? I don't know what team would want him. But he is getting paid like $10 million a year, and he's not really giving you good numbers at all. So I don't know if they would be able to get rid of him. He could be like a fourth outfielder. I mean, you got Teoscar Hernandez, who was doing really good last year until he got hurt. I mean, this is a good offense, a very good offense. So we're seeing a John Heyman tweet. We're seeing some more tweets. Let me look at Twitter before I get out of here. The only center fielder with a higher annual value than Springer's $25 million is Trout. Interesting. Oh, look at Kemp and Jacoby Ellsbury. Center fielders have not done very good. These big priced free agents big price center fielders have not done very good. I think the Blue Jays had to pay what amounts to a Canada Buffalo tax to finally win a star player. But for where the Jays are in their win cycle, going what was an extra 6 year makes sense for the organization for this player. Makes a ton of sense. Jose Quintana, 1 year, $8 million. Good for the Angels. I think that's a good pickup for the Angels. If he's healthy, he could be a depth guy. I like that move with Quintana. I think why not? The Angels need pitching. I think that's good. They still got to go after a Bauer, I think. They have the pieces to get a trade done. If the Angels really wanted to go after a Luis Castillo, they could. If you really wanted to have some fun right now, if you really wanted to have some fun, if you were the Angels, you wanted to go get yourself a Luis Castillo, you could make this happen. Why couldn't you? You know why? Because you have one piece that could make it happen. I know a lot of you might not like what I'm about to do, but I'm just saying. If you wanted a Castillo, you could just throw Adele at them. I mean, I know a lot of people might not like that, but I'm just saying, I think right now Castillo, he serves more of a purpose for the Angels than a Moustakas or than a what the heck did I just say? He serves more of a purpose for them than an Adele. And you get Castillo for 3 years. Heath Williams, this is baseball trade values. I think the Angels could get something like this done. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Because after Adele, I don't know. They got Fletcher at a 44.7. They must have just updated that. I don't know. What else could you give up? Oh, wow. You know what? Actually, maybe the Angels don't have the pieces to get this done. I mean, they have Adele. I thought Adele had a much higher value. I don't know. Do you part with like a Canning or a Marsh? I don't think. Why would you give 2 outfielders? I don't know. Maybe the Angels can't get this done. But I think it would help if they looked into it. I think if they included Adele in a trade for a Castillo, I think that could be pretty good. But I don't know. They'd have to figure out all these other pieces to go along with him. So that's a pretty big gap. But yeah, I think the Angels could get something done. Maybe they could go after a Hendricks. Hendricks is from California, so maybe Kyle Hendricks would be good for the Angels. The Angels got to get something done. Jose Quintana's nice, but they're not done yet. Blue Jays are not done yet. There's still so many free agents out here. Look at these free agents out here. You still got Real Muto sitting out there. I think he's going to go back to the Phillies. You still got some guys. Asdrubal Cabrera's out there. Moreland's out there. You got guys. Colton Wong is still out there. Cesar Hernandez, Villar, La Stella. I mean, you still got second baseman out there. Turner's out there still. I mean, you got Semien out there still. Didi's out there. Simmons is out there. Brantley's out there. Gardner, Peterson. Bradley's still out there. I think I'm leaning toward Bradley going to the Mets. I'm leaning towards that. I mean, right fielders, not so much. Cruz is still out there. You got some guys. Bauer, of course. Bauer is probably the top remaining guy. I mean, you still got, did I miss where is Ozuna? I completely missed Ozuna. Marcell Ozuna. I was going to say, where the heck is Marcell Ozuna? You still got a lot of starting pitchers here. Jose Quintana's off the board now. You still got Paxton. I think the Blue Jays could go after a Paxton. I think he would be good for the middle of the rotation. He'd be good depth. Tanaka, what's he going to do? Odorizzi? There's a lot of pieces out here. Hamels. Perez, he's off the board now. Great. We get Martin Perez back for another freaking year. Can't wait. Still a lot of things out here. You still got Brad Hand. Giles, he's interesting. Workman, Osuna. Still a lot of pieces on this free agent market. Still a lot of big pieces. Again, Real Muto and Bauer, they're the two biggest ones. What are they going to end up doing? So, everyone, again, so George Springer, officially a Toronto Blue Jay as long as the physical passes, which it most likely will. He doesn't seem to really have anything going on with him. So, everyone, that is the breaking news tonight. Blue Jays signing George Springer, 6-year deal, $150 million. That's an average of $25 million per year. Great move for the Blue Jays. Their offense is already one of the better offenses in the game. A very young offense. George Springer, he's going to go right to the top of that lineup, and that is going to be a dynamic lineup for the Blue Jays. Look out for the Blue Jays now in the American League. I don't think they're done. They need to get another guy for the rotation. I think Bauer would be great. Kyle Hendricks would be great. Luis Castillo would be amazing if they could do that. If not him, maybe a Sonny Gray. They need another guy in that rotation, I think. Maybe even go get a James Paxton as well for a mid-rotation kind of a guy. But right now, everyone, the Blue Jays, they're on the right track. They are finally no longer the joke of the offseason. they are no longer window shoppers. They finally got something done. The Blue Jays have been tied to so many people this offseason, so many different players. You have heard the Blue Jays everywhere this offseason. So good for the Blue Jays. I hate saying that as a Red Sox fan, but as a baseball fan, great move. Fantastic move. I think that's great for their organization. And their payroll is still so low. That is what's nuts. They could go get a Bauer if they wanted to. That's insane. But everyone, thank you for coming out tonight. I really appreciate you coming out. I did have my stream earlier. If you missed that, you want to go watch that. We were kind of doing the George Springer watch earlier. So I don't know if you want to go watch that. Go take a look. Also, I did post earlier today, what if Mike Trout was drafted number 1 overall? I go back in time and I tell you what would happen if he was drafted by the Nationals. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button for me. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by opening day. I believe right now we are at 4.77K. We are within 250 subscribers of 5,000. Hit that like button for me, everyone. Right now, I see that we're at 88 likes. If we can get to 100 before the end of the stream, that would be amazing. Go follow me on Twitter if you want to talk some baseball throughout the day. I'm over there as well. But everyone, I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight to catch this special edition breaking news stream. So, everyone, I'm going to go to bed. I'm extremely tired. But thank you for coming out tonight, and I'll talk to you next time.